Okay, so when it comes to enhancing the last 20% of your 3D render, there's a thing called compositing. Not a lot of people know about it, and not a lot of people use it. But luckily, in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how I composite my 3D renders using Photoshop. So, let's begin the video. Okay, so I got one of my renders loaded up over here in Photoshop, and this is how my workflow looks like when I do compositing. First of all, I come over here to the render, I do Ctrl J just to make a duplicate of it. Right click, convert to smart layer. Why? You'll know in a second. So right after that, I do Ctrl Shift A just to go into the camera raw filter. Now since we're in the camera raw filter, the first thing that I do, I go into basics. I increase the clarity very slowly. We basically need to get a little bit of the pop action going. And what do I mean by that? This is before and this is after. I'll add a little bit of texture, bit of dehaze, a little bit of vibrance for this one. Now, this image looks really good right now, but it's a bit too cold for my liking. So I'll just warm it up a bit. And if we scroll down over here to optics, I'll add a little bit of vignette. Okay, so this step is really important. Whenever you export any sort of 3D render, whether it be cars, bikes, or any product or any character, usually what happens is we process it through a denoiser, which eliminates all of the noise, right? But real life film has grain, and we want that. We don't want the noise, but we want the grain. So we'll add that over here, and I'll also zoom it in so you guys know the difference. So let me find a good spot. Yeah, that looks good. So usually with my experimentations, what I've seen, if you put a value between 8 to 18, that works the best. Since I've already composited this before, I know 12 works the best. Lovely. Okay, now I'm gonna press OK, and we're done with that part. Now comes the second part of the composite. Now we're going to be adding a lookup table or a LUT. And for that, I'm going to be clicking this gizmo to bring up the color lookup table. Now over here in Photoshop, I've actually pre-installed a lot of LUTs. And they're from the film rights cinematic pack version 5, I guess. I don't exactly remember. Now, the LUT that I like to use the most is the Witcher one. And with that LUT, we're at a really good position. But the thing is, it's still a bit too much for my liking. So what I like to do is I come over here to the fill, I grab it and I slowly start to decrease it. Probably 40% looks good. Now, since we're done with the LUT, that looks really good, but the thing is, the image is still a bit too dark. So what I like to do after doing all of that is come over here, click on the gizmo again, and I put a curves layer. Now I'll just grab it, the shadow part, and slowly start to raise it up until the blackest part becomes a bit grayish. Yep, that looks good. So yeah, this is where we started, and this is where we are. Now, you might be wondering, Hassan, that's a really odd ratio to render out. Why did you render out a render in that ratio? Well, the reasoning is simple, my friend. I wanted to have black borders on it. And how can you add black borders in Photoshop? Very simple. You come over here to image, you go to canvas size, and now you see that's a really odd resolution. So I'll take the height and put it back to 1080. But you didn't see any black borders yet. Where are they? You'll have to make them. How? I'll show you. So basically after that, I'll have to make a new layer. I'll click on the render, press W on my keyboard To get the quick selection tool, right click on my selection, select inverse. Now when I come to the new layer that I made, I'll take the brush tool. I already have the black color selected, and boom and boom. So yeah, this is where we started, and this is where we are. We got that extra 20% that we needed to stand out. So I hope you liked this video, and this tutorial taught you a lot of new things, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.